Hello YouTube, this is Mr. Baba from Finland. I'm checking out some headphones again. This is a pair of Philips Fidelio X2s. There's a lot of buzz about this pair in the internet. A lot of fans of the sound signature and build quality and all of that. And I agree, these are a very fun headphone for fans of big bass and kind of tamed highs and not too much mids, but for me they're a bit too colored. They're nowhere near neutral. This is the kind of headphone to make your friends with little experience with good audio gear just go wow. They'd be just wowed by these headphones because they have this big bass and they're open and they have soundstage and yeah. But when we get deeper, there are some problems that I'm going to discuss. Okay, here we go. The build quality is quite good in my opinion. They're strongly made and they're quite heavy and actually they're quite big in size. And this is actually a used pair I bought, and they're made by Woox, W-O-O-X, and I've heard that there was some problems with people who had the older version, the new version, which some of them are made by Gibson, not the guitar company, some other Chinese company. Some people had ink bleed from the ear pads and something like that, but I've had no such problems. They're well made and quite okay for me. The headband is very thick, good quality. It's very soft on your head and it extends quite nicely. I heard the X1 wasn't so good in this department. So like people like me who have big heads had problems getting a good fit. But yeah, this is good. And they're quite good looking in my opinion. Kind of black is always good, but maybe there could have been something fancy around somewhere, but black is always good. It's a safe choice. One thing I have to mention, this pair does not look very cool when they're on your head, because this thing sticks out like crazy. If your head is like here, they look kind of funny. I wouldn't use these outdoors or in a transit or anything like that. And yeah, they're home headphones, I think. The ear pads are quite stiff in my opinion, and kind of hard and stiff. And they're okay, but I've had much better comfort with the Sennheiser HD600 pads, which are very soft, and they have this same kind of material too. These tend to slide on my head upwards because of this springy thing here. And I have a big head. I've heard that people with normal or smaller heads don't have the same problem. But with big heads, that is an issue, I think. So they just go up just millimeter by millimeter when you're wearing them. But if you don't have a big head, it's not a problem, I think. The cable is very good. It's a 3.5 millimeter, and that's the thing that every headphone should have, because I hate the proprietary 2.5 or things like that. And even worse are the non-detachable cables. This is a good choice from Philips. The 3.5 is always great choice. Okay, let's get into sound quality. Overall, these are very, very warm. There's lots of bass, and the mid-range kind of takes a back seat, and the vocals also are not very present. The bass is so strong that and the mids are quite laid back, so vocals have the same problem, in my opinion. Overall, the frequency range is kind of V-shaped, if you think about the lows being the first big boost and the mids going down, and highs are kind of boosted, but only in the highest regions, like 10 kilohertz. Otherwise, they're quite low in power. There's not too much highs, in my opinion. Some people have said that the highs can be too hot for them, but I haven't found that at all. These are not bright headphones by any means. Overall, the sound quality is quite safe and too soft for my taste. No, not yet. We'll get to those in just a moment. Bass. Let's talk about bass. This is the biggest strength in the sound department, in my opinion. These are open headphones, as I said, and but still, this bass goes way low, and that's quite rare to find. Open headphones tend to have the very little sub bass, and the bass is usually not that strong. But these have a very nice, almost like bass head bass, and they have a good punch for rock music and metal and electronic, modern kind of music, if you like bass a lot. But for many people, I'm quite sure it's actually too much bass. But to each his own. The bass can be a bit boomy on some recordings which are bass heavy. Older albums like classic Slayer or something like that, the extra punch in the low end is quite beneficial. But modern metal or rock or something like that, sometimes it's just too much. Like Rage Against the Machine album Renegades, which has huge low end without any boost. It just gets too much for me. But there's this thing that your ears usually get used to sound signatures, so maybe if at first listen the bass is just a hint too much, just give them a day or two or a week, and maybe you'll just find it's quite okay for you. But not for the fans of neutral bass. The mid-range, this is where the problems start for me. Mostly I hear the distorted crunchy guitars don't have great impact. The crunch, in the highs and especially in the mids, it's kind of lacking. Guitars have a soft attack. Listening to AC/DC's Back in Black and Highway to Hell albums, they're my go-to stuff for checking out mid-range guitars and stuff, and that's where you notice the soft attack and how the guitars are not the best for me. Vocals take a backseat with these because of the mids, or they're just not up front. In a busy mix, the vocals kind of get a little bit buried by the low end, and it gets kind of soft, and if you like your vocals up front and very present, and you're a fan of them especially, this is not your pair in my opinion. Treble, also known as high frequencies. They're kind of smooth, as I said before, they're not very strong, there's not much treble energy. But there is this kind of boost in the very highest of highs, like not highest of highs, but higher up in the range, like 10 kilohertz. And it's kind of weird. I think if you took that boost away, the sound would be very, very dark and muffled and bass heavy. It's kind of a weird signature in my opinion. The highs are quite colored, as I said. The lower highs are, they're not really strong. The soundstage is quite good. You don't often hear a headphone with this much bass with a good soundstage, because basically big bass headphones are usually closed and these are open. But the colored highs really I'm not a fan of them, so the soundstage doesn't really help, so the highs are a big minus for me. I'd rather have a less soundstage and more natural highs. Amping, do you need an amp with this one? I'd say maybe not. It gets a very little bit better with an amp. I tried it with the Sheet Lear 2, and maybe the highs were a bit crispier, and I don't know. But basically it's the same sound. There's some very small things happening, but nothing much. I also tried these with an iPod straight out of them, and no problems at all. Yeah, the same sound. They're very sensitive. Yeah. Okay, let's compare these to some other headphones. When I first heard this pair, my first headphones that I thought of were the Denon D2000s. Actually, it's not made anymore, and it's a closed design, but they are quite similar in my opinion in many ways. These are not actually made anymore. These were made by Fostex, who now makes the TH600 and other models, which I believe are pretty much siblings of these ones. So these are more comfortable than the X2. The earpads are very, very soft, and there's very little pressure onto your head. Okay, there's a squeak. Listen. That's funny. Yeah, these are not the most sturdiest build. I have some damage here, but at home they're quite okay in my opinion. The bass is just as fat, maybe even bigger bass in these. These can be a bit boomy and slow on some songs, but I've used some EQ to drop some power from the low end, and it works with the Fidelio X2. The sub bass, the lowest bass, is where these really shine, and you can hear something like a bass guitar much more easily with these than the X2s, especially if there's some more treble in the track and in the bass track. The D2000 clearly has more highs. The sub bass region is great with these. I guess the closed design helps there, but it's just a very, very good sub bass that's present, but yeah, very good. When I listened to these back to back, the Denons were easier to hear, like the bass guitar on rock songs, than the X2s. Maybe because the bass had some higher frequencies, and these are more trebly, and there's much more treble. And I think the highs are actually just better than the Philips Fidelios. All in all, I think these have a bit more mids. Guitars sound better, they have crunch, and snare drums have the cracking sound that makes them kind of come alive, and vocals are present too. Maybe it's the higher mids and lower highs that make the difference, in my opinion, or my estimation. I think the soundstage is good on both, so I'm not a big fan of soundstage, or I don't really think about it too much, but it's good on both. This cable is non-detachable, so you can't just pull it off. If it breaks, you have to solder a new one or do something else. Okay, the next one I'll compare these X2s to are the Sennheiser HD600. I just did a review of these a week ago. These are headphones that many people like to compare to the X2s, but I don't really see the idea, because these are not at all similar. These are very, very, very different headphones. These used to be at least in the same price range. I don't know about the X2's price right now, but the sound is quite different. These have much less bass. It's more like a natural, neutral kind of amount, not boosted bass. And the mids are very much present. It's the vocals and the guitars and all that stuff. It's right up there in the middle and in the first thing you hear. These, I think, are more true to the original recordings than the X2s. Much more. This is the pair I used for mixing and stuff like that audio work. This is for the fans of neutral stuff. Great mids in general. Okay, let's get back to the X2s. The price, I think, used to be around $300 or euros. I think it has dropped since. They seem to be very popular and not too hard to find a used pair, which is what I did, and I'd suggest the same thing for many people. If you're not afraid of like little wear or stink or anything like that, I don't care. If they work, they work. These are big bass, fun kind of headphone with very colored highs and V-shaped sound signature. Not much mids. Who do these fit? Who could like this? Yes, many people do, and actually I do too, but these are not my favorites. They have some problems. As I said, these are very much a lot of like fun. If you come from beats or like big bass headphones, this might just be your ticket. If you're not too worried about great fidelity, like in the highs, or resolution, or like if the instruments sound just like they should, yeah, then these might just be okay. But for 300, maybe not. I wouldn't recommend these. I'd go for something different. Check out my other videos. I have some reviews on guitars or like tests of amps and effects and some some of my own songs, check out my tunes. And that's it. Thank you, YouTube. See you again, and bye bye.